Outlaw, Macho, Drive-In.
Triple threat tag team action on the pre-show. We have Primo and Epico defeating Justin Gabriel and Tyson Kidd and the Usos. It's your basic match of that time period. We have for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. We have Sheamus defeating Daniel Bryan 18 seconds after the kiss of death. And I remember when this happened, I was like, what the fuck? But part of me thought that might be building to something. I was still had mixed emotions because I was like, fuck. So we have this baby faces being shoved down our throats, just defeated Daniel Bryan, 18 seconds. But a part of me thought it might be leading to something. Ultimately, it did, which is amazing. Because honestly, Daniel Bryan is one of the saving graces of 2012, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Especially his heel character unraveling, which coincidentally turned him into a babyface. But it's one of those matches where you really can't judge it, because judging it by itself, you're going to completely crap on it, but it actually wound up doing a lot long term. Next we had Kane versus Randy Orton. I was okay with this feud. The match honestly was just kind of meh to me. Same with the next one. Big Show winning his first Intercontinental Championship, defeating Cody Rhodes. And then we had Kelly and Maria Menounos with her brown stain on her ass.
It was makeup.
It was
defeating.
It was Eve Torres' makeup
Beth
as well.
Phoenix and Eve Torres.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that internet mark. Like, you know better.
Okay. I was so wondering, like, they gonna bring it up. They gonna bring it up. No, they gonna bring it up.
I wasn't gonna.
It's a one-off.
Oh no, yeah.
And we have the match of the night for me here: Undertaker versus Triple H, Hell in a Cell. Whole end of an era thing. Thought maybe both guys were officially, maybe not both guys, but one guy was, like, Triple H might be officially retiring, which of course we know didn't happen. It would have been a great way for Undertaker to go out winning this match here.
Yeah. Perfect 20 end.
It really wasn't an end of an era by any means. I agree with James on that one, but the match itself I thought was excellent. The post-match image of those two and Shawn Michaels gives me goosebumps thinking about it. It is a chilling image. It is fantastic. Yeah, that to me, if a match can be, this is perfect WrestleMania, because you have great entrances, a great match, and you have great post-match. Like, this match told a story beginning, middle, and end, and I loved it for that. It was a perfect WrestleMania match to me. This type of match that you can use Hell in a Cell for, not just a random Hell in a Cell pay-per-view where every title match or what have you winds up being in a Hell in a Cell. This match actually made sense to try to top what they did the previous year. I think more gimmick matches should be that way, as opposed to just having TLC just because you're on a pay-per-view called TLC, or a Hell in a Cell just because you're on a pay-per-view called Hell in a Cell. But that's for another topic for another day. Yeah, I absolutely loved this match here. It's another match that I know plenty that thought it was one of the worst matches of all time. I know plenty who said after that match that they were turning off WrestleMania.
Wow.
And they actually did.
Whoa.
Yeah. Which,
not to see the once in a lifetime match.
they said that match was so boring and both guys should have been ashamed to have been in the match that they turned off WrestleMania.
Yes. Everyone, that wasn't me.
It's
James.
people who.
No.
This was 2012, so I had not even met James yet, but there were plenty of people who are involved in like e-wrestling scenes around town who flat out hated it, and I just know a bunch of others who were kind of more casuals who also watched and hated it, and said this was the reason they were done with professional wrestling, was matches like this, where to me I was like, this is the reason I love professional wrestling.
What exactly did they not like about it? It's
everything. They said they said that Triple H didn't have it anymore, Undertaker didn't have it anymore. Match was yes.
Based on this
the match was boring. Based on this match.
What the?
Yeah, because I remember as soon as the match ended, I had a few text messages from people. I just was completely floored and wowed by what I had just seen, and people were saying how it was one of the worst things they had seen. Yes.
I am not surprised.
James, do you want? Do you want? It looks like you have something to say on this one. This would be a perfect opportunity for your moment on this match. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's have it.
This is what I'm saying. First of all, I didn't hate the match. The match wasn't boring. I did not see the whole match. I saw elements. My thing was I was not excited for the match.
Okay.
Because I didn't see the reason for this match. But listen to this podcast, listen to y'all thinking how it was a step-by-step thing. Now I understand. Because just how it just said, it's like, okay, we got no one to fight The Undertaker. Triple H ain't doing nothing, let's bring them together. That was my thinking before we spoke. That's how it felt to me. And that's what I'm thinking, why y'all doing this? Because when we talked about last time, I like The Undertaker to fight new challenges to make it exciting. That maybe this up-and-coming guy would beat the streak. And that would make it interesting, you know. But exactly. And by seeing how it went from Shawn and Shawn again, then taking out Shawn and Triple H getting revenge for Shawn, now this is the climax or the Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
For their feud. So I can understand how they brought in Shawn as the referee, then Triple H and everything held themselves. So that moment again, but just overall to me, it just wasn't very interesting because like I seen enough for Triple H and Undertaker. I was kind of getting fatigued, and that was my issue with the match. And again, the match, I never knew the quality of the work would be bad because again, you have Shawn Michaels, you have Triple H, you have The Undertaker. So the work rate were always going to be top notch. It's just overall, I just was not very interested and engaged into it at all. But I never say I ever hate a match. I never say it'd be a match is boring. I never would cut off a pay-per-view because of a match.
Especially when you order it.
Yes, I would never do that. That's weird. If anything, that main event I would, because I'm like, who cares? Because not that it was bad anything, I'm just like, it's Rock and Cena. Okay, it's not Hogan and Rock. I didn't felt that for that. So that was my whole thing about it though. I just like the streak when it's new up and coming people who wants to make a name for themselves, and The Undertaker's the big final boss, and this is where your claim to fame to be, and that's what it is. But
yeah, it's your shot at
fame. It was the middle of a build. Yeah. So it was the middle of a story, a big multi-level storyline, so I can understand why Triple H and stuff like that. But I agree, it wasn't, end of an era because Magical Money came and they kind of brought them all back. But we'll speak about that later. But that was my thing about the whole Undertaker versus Triple H and Hell in a Cell, stuff like that.
Moving onwards, we have 12-man tag team action. This was basically their Money in the Bank this year, since Money in the Bank now had its own pay-per-view.
Yeah, and I would like to welcome you, Miss, to Team Teddy, Shawnee.
The Miz, he was the star in this match, in my opinion. Team Johnny was great, but The Miz definitely felt
was the ace in the
he
hole.
was a guy. Yeah. Like, if that shows the type of presence that The Miz had at that time period, like, he felt like Rockstar coming out. He was the main guy. Like, Team Johnny, I mean, you have David Otunga, which Otunga was still doing his thing at the time. You had Ziggler, who was on the up. McIntyre, who wasn't necessarily on the up anymore, but he still wasn't completely...
He wasn't
3M buried yet.
He didn't spiral control yet, yeah.
Yes.
But he was still on the
Jeff
losing
Swagger, Swagger, who was, coming off of the previous year. Mark Henry was always Kevlar. He could always kind of bounce back from things. And then you had The Miz. Team Teddy, you had, Booker T, who was freshly back. Kofi Kingston, Ali, R-Truth, who was just now starting off, pretty much the R-Truth that we know now, because he was coming off of his heel run and was starting to do the whole eccentric babyface stick that he's completely mastered right now.
Yeah.
And Tino and Zack Ryder. So a lot more comedy acts on the babyface team. Heels win. Zack Ryder got nailed in the balls afterwards, which hopefully he could use his Blue Chew for. Or if you listen to his pod, it's not a plug for ours. It's his little thing on his, but it is what it is. And I was still under the impression that Ryder was going to get like big push and revenge on maybe like The Miz or somebody afterwards.
But he just drifted away right after that match.
Yeah. 4 years later, I thought the same exact thing. I was like, oh man, the night after Mania, Ryder's gonna get some revenge on The Miz.
No.
CM Punk versus Jericho, I was underwhelmed by, I have to say. Not saying it was a bad match or anything. I was just kind of underwhelmed by it as a whole. Then we had the main event of Rock versus John Cena, which honestly, even though they had different outcomes, I get both of their matches mixed up when I think about them, because nothing really stands out about either match besides the spectacle of seeing them nose to nose.
I think the finish. The finish for this one stands out a little bit.
I don't think either one is bad. I'm not going to trash either match. But neither match sticks with me.
I'll tell you this.
Either year.
I'll tell you this. The next year, their match was so bad after it was done, I turned WrestleMania off. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Was it the last match? Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to watch any more of this.
Punk and Jericho?
I know the next year's Mania
we did
is one of my least favorite Manias. I mean, I've said this in the past that a lot of WWE in that time period I didn't really care for. I do remember after the next year's Mania, and I got home, I popped on VHS of Mania 13 just so I could watch Brett versus Austin, but I wound up watching the entire pay-per-view, even though that's not necessarily a great pay-per-view either. But he was like, I just want to watch.
You just wanted to watch the Rocky versus the Sultan, yeah, I know.
What did you guys think of this Mania here?
Daniel Bryan and Sheamus, I was pissed. And I honestly think there wasn't no storytelling there. It's just they were just using this as the storytelling point. I think
it's a shock value thing.
Because the whole point I heard, yeah, they did. Anything can happen. That's the whole point of it was. That was like the whole setup. Like anything can happen at WrestleMania. So the shock value thing. Kane and Randy Orton.
It spawned from the next night with the fans seeing how fans reacted towards Bryan that catapulted Bryan.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking, no planning, and just like, oh shit, we started something we shouldn't done. Kane versus Randy Orton was great. I was shocked Kane won, funny enough, but
I am too.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
It was a pleasant surprise.
it's Randy Orton. He's usually coming on the up. Big Show versus Cody Rhodes is what it was. Kelly and Meaning Lewis. It wasn't bad. No. 6 minutes, you can't complain. I already talked about him taking Triple H. I just thought it was weird that they had, and I know why, because you needed the calm down point. But with the Team Johnny versus Team Teddy, I'm thinking like, man, there's a lot of people and it's weird. Yeah. Right after this, but I guess you had no other choice compared to the other two matches. And Asanka was in this? Just like looking at these names like AKSA. Yeah, Asanka. Oksana, yes.
Oksana, oh, okay.
She was the girl that was with Teddy Long, and then she went and she was Cesaro's valet for a while.
Yeah, I remember her. I just didn't remember her.
I think Cesaro was introduced the very next night, like when she said, "The new man in my life."
Yeah, yep, correct.
Cesaro.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Antonio Cesaro.
Yeah.
And, CM Punk and Chris Jericho was, Punk mark here, Chris Jericho mark. I enjoyed it, but yeah, it was just... I wanted to be hyped for it, but I couldn't be hyped for it. I don't know why. It's just like, it's what it was. It was just like, okay, so much that I kind of forgot about it. So I looked at the list like, oh yeah, they did have a match. And that was about his closest to the main event he was going to have. Because I'm sorry. And this is weird. We talked about how The Rock and Hogan didn't main event WrestleMania, but The Rock and John Cena did over the championship. Conspiracy against Punk. I knew it.
They learned from their mistakes, I guess.
They did. It is funny that it happened to Chris Jericho, too. That's even more funnier. It's like, yeah, we're going to learn now. So, in this match, once in a lifetime, Master Heater. Once in a lifetime. Never gonna get it again. This was the only time these two guys will fight.
Never. You're gonna get the one match from John Cena versus The Rock, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people flocked to Miami because they thought, "Oh my God, The Rock and John Cena! It's the only time we're ever gonna see this." And
yes. Oh God, I didn't care for this match.
Once in a lifetime, you're gonna see John Cena being introduced by Machine Gun Kelly, and The Rock being introduced by Flo Rida.
Ooh, yeah, right.
Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling. Go.
I did not care for this match at all, and it wasn't because of John Cena. It's just like, I don't want to see The Rock face John Cena, because I was thinking, you know what? John Cena is like American version of Okada. John Cena's going to win. But he didn't. He lost. The Rock won, and here I'm thinking, yay, The Rock won. So what we going to do next? The Rock's gonna go now. He did his thing. It's over.
So Lawrence Taylor can beat Bam Bam Bigelow, but The Rock cannot beat John Cena. Is that what we're saying right now?
No.
Snooki.
I'm happy
so Snooki can pin Michelle McCool in the middle.
No, it's fine. The Rock won, but you thinking, okay, what you gonna do next, Rock? What's the next
he's
plan?
going to Disneyland. Oh, sorry, that's.
So that's what I'm thinking. Like, it didn't really.
But he did address that.
Before we knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, but the next night he said he's going to be the WWE champion. So they had that.
So they fixed that. Yeah, But it's just the whole point. You thinking, okay, Rock, okay. So it just, I didn't too much care for the match, and I'd rather have Rock face The Undertaker or anything. Anybody, just not John Cena at that point. I just didn't. I don't feel this was once in a lifetime type thing if they didn't have a rematch. But yeah. But Master Heater reminds me, spectacle and moments is what WrestleMania is about, and that's what it was.
Yeah. And to carry on that, let's be honest, the match was not for the wrestling fan. The match was for people who are gonna turn into it.
Yes.
And then they might become wrestling fans. It wasn't for us.
It was for us in a way, because we was with The Rock.
Yeah.
And why the new generation of John Cena fans is like, yeah, this is against the old timer. So it was kind of that clash, but not on the level of Hulk Hogan and The Rock in a way. They tried to.
It's because I remember like the Bravo itself was getting a lot of traction from a lot of casuals. Like I would show, like I had this Greek guy at the office, and he would watch it like from time to time. He'd watch the clips on YouTube or whatever was on there, and he would say like he'd say I'd watch their promos, face-to-face promos, and I'm thinking, well, damn, this guy's got a point, and this guy's got a point. And I think that's the best thing about the whole thing, was that they were actually two different views to the same thing, and you cannot fault either one for having those views. And that was the key to the rivalry. The match itself, like you said, the match itself from bell to bell is forgettable. It's the only thing I remember about it is Cena trying to it's the finish. Cena trying to mock the Undertaker and mock the Rock, and the Rock kips up, rock bottoms him, finishes the match, and it is what it is.
And this is one, and it was the one point I didn't like them feuding is only certain people, and I'll talk The Rock, Miz, Chris Jericho, a couple of people,
CM Punk,
but John Cena couldn't do it.
Yeah,
and CM Punk, yes, because he can just be an asshole. And
Cena was like talking to Rock and trying to stand his ground, and he was the way his face would look.
Oh yeah.
I know I'm being schooled right now, but I'm still gonna try to man up.
I'm gonna not sell it.
But as soon as he did, Rock just punched it back at him.
It's because Cena kept going back to the same talking points. His point, he doesn't. It's like a lot of internet suggestions where you try to move on to something else, but the guy keeps going back to the same thing, and you're like, what am I gonna do? And he kept and he knew he wasn't on the same level, so he kept trying to talk over The Rock, kept smirking at him throughout the whole thing, which would have been perfect if Cena was a heel.
That's what I'm saying. If he did Thuganomics Cena and did that and go low risque, more ruthless aggression era, now he could have did it. But you cannot you can't have people hate The Rock. And I don't know if it was that year or the year after, but they did the whole joke that he has to read his lines.
No, that was that year.
I'm like,
that was that year.
Yeah, I'm like, we seen The Rock do that. Did y'all forget that we remember him? That he could say things off the cuff. He don't really need to read stuff, but I guess they have to give Cena a win. And I'm like, oh, this is horrible.
It's sort of like, it's kind of like, that's a low blow. And you can tell that the Rock didn't see that one coming. Like, he was like, he didn't see that one coming.
Oh, and Stone Cold gonna talk The Rock too, but only because he's Stone Cold. He does his way of doing it. But yeah. So it felt forced. Like,
I think
just you can't.
I think Punk's promos with the Rock were amazing. Like, like when they did, and this was the same thing that you felt between Cena and The Rock. You felt between Punk, because Punk was hitting all these powerful talking points and everything, and Rock hit him with the cookie puss.
Yeah, I think they literally written there we need you to sound like a goober, Rock, okay? Because you're making our baby face look like he can't do anything compared. So say stupid things and mumble your words and everything. Don't worry, they'll believe it. They believe it.
Yeah. So
you waiting on me to talk about the more? It's on you, Master. Here.
Oh, okay, my turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on you.
I'll say this: Sheamus and Daniel Bryan. I was talking up this match so good, coming into it, because I was talking about. I felt it was a great story about how both these guys were scheduled to be on WrestleMania the year before, and their match got relegated to the pre-show, and then it got became a battle royal. So I was like, it's a great redemption story for both guys. Coming on the show. I
felt the same with you.
Yeah. But then again, they did the whole 18 seconds thing. And, oh God, I was like, what the hell is this? And
Yeah.
They kind of like, not only did they do a disservice, like they accidentally launched Daniel Bryan's path to the top of the WWE. Because I honestly, main event of WrestleMania 30 does not happen without that match. It's they kind of lucked into like as a long time storytelling, and it's the weird thing is that it's not only hijacked the next night on Raw, it hijacked half of the WrestleMania card, because people did not stop chanting Daniel Bryan or yes until Undertaker versus Triple H came on. Throughout the Kane and Randy Orton match.
And they should.
Yeah.
They should. Because that's when you really know the power of the internet. People start really knowing who Daniel Bryan is, how he got fired, and he got hired, and he deserved to be the best, and then he got screwed like that. It showed you the power of it. And to me, I don't like people messing up things, disrupting stuff like that. But in that case, that WrestleMania kind of deserved it, because he did kind of get screwed out there. Because you're right, they built it up. Yeah. They put it in our heads. They deserved this. They needed a match, and then you just did that. And like, yeah, I'd be pissed too. Okay. Yeah. I'm shocked they didn't do 96 WCW, start throwing trash in the ring.
No, you can't do that anymore. They'll eject you right like that.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
It's like
you gotta throw out the old school comment.
You can't even stand during matches now if you go there. It was like, again, I'll say this again. Like people say the Zack Snyder cut is the biggest fan movement of all time. No, you have not seen what you have not seen what the Yes movement has done. You have not seen Daniel Bryan's rise to the top, how it could be done by fans.
Hold on. That gave birth in 2012. Here we are, 2021, and that's 50% people, not 50, but just saying number of people thinking Daniel Bryan should win the title tonight.
Yeah.
So the Yes movement is still strong. So yeah.
Yeah, the Yes movement is. Yeah. He is something of the most special, talents ever. So, Kane versus Randy Orton. Good man. Honestly, Kane needed the win more than Orton, because Kane came off the loss to John Cena, and Orton was just treading water. Yeah. Big Show versus Cody Rhodes. Now, a lot of people were saying that, Big Show winning this match does nothing for me. It doesn't build towards the future and everything. But once again, it's WrestleMania. It's the whole point of the thing is Big Show was going to get that WrestleMania win. You needed someone to there. Because everyone, not every wrestling match has to be geared towards building the future. Some of them have to be just, be in the moment. God forbid that they tell a story.
But it's the Big Show. He was on babyface turn number 14.
Yeah, but no, I think
so. Just
no, I think 2011 to 2012 was fairly stable for the Big Show. I can't remember.
It's so funny you gotta talk about it. We gotta discuss.
Yeah.
What was it? Joe knows.
Yeah. I mean, Joe, I think was the official, Big Show turn tracker of.
Exactly.
Yo.
Do you have that old notebook where you wrote down those turns, Joe? Or
I don't have it near me, but yeah.
Okay,
I could probably track down how many turns this would be.
Yeah. But again, the whole story was Big Show never had that WrestleMania moment, and he got that WrestleMania moment. So it's a satisfactory ending. It's not.
It's for moments. That's what it is. Yeah. That's what I got to learn too, because I wasn't that way of thinking too.
And I think this is the first. This is for Big Show's only Intercontinental Championship, right? You guys remember?
Yep, correct.
It is. Kelly and Maria Menounos versus Beth Phoenix and Eve Torres. And Lord, if Maria Menounos isn't even the worst wrestler in this match, but honestly, Maria Menounos did pretty well for a celebrity going in. She didn't shy away from doing anything. It's a good.
Agreed.
It's a good little match. Okay, I'll get.
Yeah, and she's a fan.
Yeah. Undertaker versus Triple H. I wonder if I can remember this match. Oh yeah, that's the one in the cell.
It's not like you had
It's not like I replayed it, 300 or 400 times. Undertaker versus Triple H. I keep saying this. This is the kind of storytelling that made me fall in love with wrestling in the first place. It's the moments. It's it's the story coming into it, the story being told to it, how Shawn Michaels was reacting to it, how everything played out. And just a moment there, where this WrestleMania also had one of my favorite, opening packages with the one and only Keith David. The Keith David or David Keith? Is it Keith David or David Keith? David Keith, right? Narrating the. He was narrating. Yeah. He was narrating the intro. If you guys remember that, that was perfect for this one because he said, "Well, life happens once in a lifetime." And they did this whole thing about a video package about it afterwards, where on the night where he had John Cena versus The Rock, people are only talking about Undertaker and Triple H because that match was awesome. That match was a culmination of the last 4 years. It's the latest in an epic saga that happened, and it had everything. It had everything just right there. With Shawn Michaels as well, the guy who's intertwined with these two guys more than anything, being the referee, and he added a lot to it. It had the grudge means it had the Undertaker dressed as the Shredder. It had it had everything. It's an amazing match, and I will say this: about a year after, someone was I remember getting into this discussion, and someone said, something, I don't know, Undertaker hasn't really put it on the line, put the streak on the line as of late. The last time I was worried for the streak was Undertaker versus Triple H at the Hell in a Cell. I was like, well, that was just
Oh yeah,
a year and a half.
It was stacked against.
Yeah, it was. That was just a year and a half ago. So how can you say that the last 3 years of the Undertaker wasn't putting it on the line? They hit him with that pedigree, with that super kick pedigree combo, and I defy anyone to say that they didn't think, even for a millisecond, that the streak was going to end right there. It's one of those moments where you're like,
I thought so.
Yeah. I was like, oh Lord, these two.
But the magic of it is the only one that can kick out of it would be the Undertaker.
Yes,
That's the whole thing.
It tracks. It tracks with the whole thing. It's like, but I remember watching it and I was like, oh Lord, these two degenerates are gonna steal it. The degenerates because Degeneration X, not because they're actually. But it's and the Hammer playing its role in it, and then the Undertaker does the sit up, and Triple H again with the. I talk about how Triple H sells moments a lot, and maybe a little of his stuff is too over the top theatrical, but it worked for this one. He was coming in with the Hammer, and then the Undertaker just sits up, and Triple H falls back to one knee, and then the Undertaker and. Again, one of the moments that gives me goosebumps ever was after Undertaker just beat him the hell up with that chair, and then Triple H is using the ropes to get up, and the Undertaker goes, "Stay down," and you can tell it's two things. The Undertaker is actually telling him to stay down, and at the same time he's doing a callback to last year where, remember when you were saying this to me? It's perfect, and then the launch with that, the Hammer, and the Undertaker just, Triple H has nothing there. He just grabs it from him, and then, same as Shawn Michaels 2 years ago, defiant till the end, he does the crotch chop, gets whammed with the Hammer, and then the Undertaker just rises him up and, signals the end to him, like, this is it. And boom, tombstone, 1, 2, 3. Thus ending the biggest saga of matches in WWE history, if not wrestling history. And And wow, and the three of them like walking off together, like honestly, I'm with you. It would have been like for personal reasons, I'm happy that it wasn't the end for the Undertaker, because that actually paved my path to going to and attending a WrestleMania. But it was if there was a moment that where you could say I'd be happy if even if I don't see any of these three guys again, that was it. They went up and the 20-0 was on there, and then they just stood out, like when they just looked back on the stage and then they hugged and wow. Yeah, it's like it was a true, like it's not like the Clicks curtain call, but it is a curtain call. It is sort of a curtain call of like, yeah, we're done here.
It really is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The amazing.
And they were.
Yeah.
What time in?
An amazing match, and a perfect placement of Team Johnny versus Team Teddy here, because, you're still riding that high, and this match, has enough intrigue to keep you watching, but ultimately you're just, you're still high on. Punk versus Chris Jericho, I will say this. I liked it. I didn't think it was underwhelming or anything. But then again, like, it was on the same card as Undertaker versus Triple H. Anything that came after that was going to underwhelm you.
Right.
John, it was in the middle.
Yeah.
Let's take out the team stuff, but it was in the middle.
Something.
Once in a lifetime match.
Yeah.
And that.
Yeah. And Triple H, I think if he's not in the main event, he loves that spot of being after, kicking off the second or third hour where, people are still hyped up, so he can steal the show and during that. Yeah. It's smart booking if you can think about it. Punk's entrance and Chris Jericho's entrance for that part was amazing. Open stadiums are all the rage. That's where you can get the fireworks and everything. And if you remember, Punk's fireworks were from the parking lot or something somewhere outside the stadium, and they played where they had the living color thing that going and stop, and then fireworks. And then again, fire. It's a great entrance, honestly. It's one of the best entrances on the show. And Rock versus John Cena. Given the circumstances, I don't think they underdelivered, but I don't think it was less than what you might expect from a Rock versus John Cena match. It's
exactly, and it was big. If it just stayed that one and only match, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
Well, he was going to get it again following year.
The next match was way worse. Honestly, it's even if you stay alone. Yeah. But this was this was a once in a lifetime WrestleMania, I guess, and just to say, like, 24 was when I thought I need to attend the WrestleMania. 28 was when I thought I will attend the WrestleMania. That's seeing all the pageantry, all the fireworks, everything that's happening, all the stuff, how the fans are behaving. WrestleMania 28 had one of the best looks, as well as far as stadium setup and music and so forth.
Thank you for joining us on the Outlaw Macho Drive-In. If you liked that video, please click like and subscribe to our channel for more content from the Drive-In. For full episodes of our podcast, please look us up on Anchor or Spotify. Just search for Outlaw Macho Drive-In or click the link in the description below. Please feel free to comment. Tell us what you think about our discussion. Please tell us what you think about us. Tell us what you think in general. The world's your oyster. And do us a favor, spread the word. Help us out here. Share. Thank you. We love you. Bye.